Hey everyone, welcome. We're going to do a chatty get ready with me. But before I wanted to share something that I got on Amazon. I don't have an affiliate link or anything. I just wanted to show it to y'all because I really like it. It's this mobile phone LED light thing. I think the brand that I purchased, that's the name of the brand. I don't know. I will link this below. It's not an affiliate link or anything, but if you're interested just for your like Skype calls or your Zoom calls or whatever, I have several things like this around the house, but this has been a really good one. It has a clip so you can stick it onto your phone, and then the little clip that you can do like that. So I put that on top of my computer screen when I'm working for extra light when I'm on Zoom and Microsoft Teams calls. But I like that it lights up. It gives you, you can do yellow light. You can do combo white and yellow that you can't see because it all looks white there, or you can do just white light. So let's see how this changes things. Oh my God, look how, look how cool that is. Like how it's illuminating my face differently. So that's the just white light. Let me see if I can bring the light up more. Oh, y'all can't tell me nothing today. And then this is the yellow light. And we're going to brighten that up. Holy cow, that's not bad for a little pad. And then that's the combo light. Let me turn that up. And I think that's what I will work with today. Isn't that cool? So we can do better lighting in here. Thank you, Amazon. I wish it was an affiliate link because I'd love to get some commission from y'all buying this, but I don't have that. So I'm just going to link it below in case you're interested. You can look that up or something like it. Anyway, today's video is going to be long, lots of makeup. I have my aligners in, so just a heads up that my mouth is going to look a little bit weird. And I really want to talk about things that I'm loving right now in the spirit of gratitude. I love to do this every once in a while, sit and reflect. What are some things that I'm really just happy for right now, thankful for in my life, be they big or small? So let's talk about that. Speaking of Amazon, I wanted to show you all some dresses. I've been on this like dress kick on Amazon, which happens in the summer, but and I'm going to be a little bit all over the place, excuse me. Add my facial essence on. I'm going through the Ferulic Brew Kiehl's rejuvenating facial essence, which I really like. I'll show you the dresses in a minute, but I mentioned this in another video as a product that I'm really loving right now, and I'm probably going to talk about it again in another video if I haven't already posted that other empties and products I'm loving right now video. This stuff is really good. It's very hydrating. I'm making my way through a number of different essences just to test them out and see what I really like. And this one so far, I would say beats out the Tatcha one. I think the Tatcha one is great, but if you remember, this one has a really lovely medicinal smell, and it has like this oil and some other water-based thing mixed together that I think really makes a nice combination for the skin. And my understanding of essence is that its job is to make your skin ready to receive other products. So there's a whole like scientific explanation behind it that I don't know that I want to get into right now. Does anyone need essence? Nobody needs any of these products. So let's just make sure we're all clear on that. Do I think it's making a difference? I do. I think it moisturizes my face, and it does add like this prep factor that everything else just sits on nicely. So I've been using that, and I've been really loving, as I've mentioned before, the Clarins Double Serum Hydric and Lipidic System. It's double barreled, and there's two different kinds of fluids, like an oily fluid and then something a little bit that's more water-based, kind of like what I just showed you. This one's thicker, and it serves as a nice moisturizing base, and then I go in with my conditioner. Did I say my conditioner? My moisturizer over that. So I've been really enjoying that combination of products, especially here in the summer, as I'm sitting mostly in AC. And so, you know, AC can kind of sometimes dry you out, and it's nice to stay moisturized. Of course, when I go out in the sun, it's very humid here, and then my face looks greasy, and I just don't care. Like, I'm loving the whole, you know, oil slick face thing for the summer. It's all right with me. So I'm gonna let that sit for a while, and I'm gonna show you the dresses I've picked up because they're so cute, and I'm really enjoying them. So the most casual of the bunch is this dress that may look really ugly on screen. So when you put it on, you cinch in the waist, and it's called like a shirt dress, where you have these almost large kimono sleeves. It's a little short, it comes above the knees, and it's just super casual. It looks like a tent right here, but it's not. I mean, obviously just, you know, cinch in as much as you desire. And it's very cash, you know, very cash. You can wear it to the pool. You can wear it like for brunch. We're going to Vegas in a couple of weeks and I'm going to take this and I can see wearing this down to breakfast in the hotel, or like if I want to run across the street to shop or something like that. I wouldn't necessarily wear this out for like the shows that we're going to go to. We have 3 Cirque du Soleil shows planned and I'm so excited. We're going to see O at the Bellagio, which is fantastic. And then Ka, and I forget where Ka is playing. I feel like it's at MGM, maybe the MGM Hotel. Why am I not remembering the name of the hotel? I just don't remember. And then the third that we're gonna watch is Mystère. And of course, I'm forgetting where that's gonna play too. I'll stick it on the screen somewhere. And I think we're also gonna do a daytime magic show somewhere. So it's just me and hubby. We're gonna go like from a Thursday to a Monday to celebrate our wedding anniversary. Another one that I am going to probably end up taking to Vegas, and I'm already breaking a rule that I talked about for this year, which is not to buy things in multiple colors just because I like it. But this might be an exception because this dress is so dang cute. This little like bohemian pattern, and it fit me really well. I wore this in a recent video. I really just liked it. It's inexpensive, generally speaking, very comfortable, and the fabric feels really good on. If I remember to link it in the description box, I will, so that you can check them out on Amazon if you're interested. Then I will also take this little number that's sleeveless with the little collar top there. It's just a, you know, like a flirty little summer dress, little cinching at the waist here, and what a cute pattern. And you know, Vegas is hot as Hades, y'all. So this will come in handy, just walking around the strip and all of that with my flip-flops, because mama's too old to be on the strip in her heels. That sounded bad, but you know what I mean. And then I bought 2 dresses, the same but different patterns. Yeah, so I'm breaking my own rules, but I really like these kinds of dresses where it's just a tube top that's a little bit stretchy. It's got a stretchy back on it, and it has the little bit of a cinched in waist, like tiny bit of ruching there, but it has the pockets for your hands. You can stick your phone in there or change or your room key or whatever, and it's a long dress, okay? So these are really like easy breezy, and because I get cold, like I might wear this to one of the shows and then put like a cardigan on over it in the show so I'm not cold, you know. And then while we're out on the strip and it's hot, I can take that off and throw it in my handbag or something. The cardigan part, not the dress. I don't want to throw the dress in my handbag and go down the strip in my underwear. Nobody wants to see that. And then the other dress is this pattern, but it's the same cut, you know, with the little pockets, and so that's also long. So those will be going to Vegas with me this year, and I'm excited about that. Then I moisturize in just a second, but my scent of the day I already applied. Usually I do this after I get ready, but I did it in reverse today because I really wanted to enjoy my scent. Reverse, reverse, reverse. Who knows that song? Tom Ford Soleil Blanc layered over Laura Mercier Almond Coconut Body Cream. Delicious combination. So I smell friggin' fabulous. Super creamy, a little bit nutty, very coconutty. There's a little bit of citrus in here. I believe it's a neroli note or bergamot. I don't remember exactly, but one of those sort of bright citrusy types of notes that is not a big player. It's mostly a coconut floral fragrance, and it's super creamy, and like to me the queen of summer beachy suntanny kinds of perfumes. Love this. Moisturizer is going to be good old Paula's Choice Youth Extending Daily Hydrating Fluid. This has SPF 50 in it. I'm not going anywhere today, but I always wear a moisturizer with SPF 50 in it. I love a good moisturized base for my products. Now some people might say that I put on too much and it makes my skin too slick for makeup to stick to. But there are other ways that I mitigate for that and just stay nice and juicy so that even when I take my makeup off at night, my face is still nice and plump and moisturized the whole day through. I've been really enjoying putting like some kind of underglow primer on. I've talked about the Natasha Denona Hydra Zen one, I think it's called, or Hydrogel Zen or something like that. And I've been going through my iconic underglow blurring primer. So almost there. I've got maybe 4 more uses here, and I find that it adds even more moisture and a little bit of a priming effect because it's a little bit of a thicker fluid, and I just put it all on and I like it. I like the several layers. I know this sounds silly, but I almost feel like I'm like double protecting my face by putting the extra layers on. I realize that has no scientific basis at all. And most dermatologists will tell you, you just need a moisturizer and sunscreen and you don't need all this other stuff. And that's fine. I'm still going to use it and I still enjoy it. And I have not played with the ABH Norvina palette. This is the Volume 5 Pro Pigment palette, and it looks like so. That is a big mamma jamma there, and there's a lot of pretty colors to play with. I haven't played with deep purples in a while, and I think I'm going to start with this color here because my eye is drawn to like that lilac-y, really nice color, and then maybe something like that in the inner corner or one of the silvers. So let's get to that in just a minute. I have to do my, well, maybe I want to do the eyes first. Maybe I should do the eyes first with this particular color palette in case there's any fallout. I can wipe it away. I'm not as familiar with this palette as I am with the others, where I know how to control the formula and how it applies. So let me start with eyes, and then I can work my way around the rest of it. I'm going to use the Hourglass Veil Eyeshadow Primer as a base for my eyes. Now, they're really all juicy and gooey, so this is not a good thing. I'm going to have to pat this out several times because it's sitting on top of a really juicy base. But I like a juicy base. Let's get into these 10 areas, things, facets of life that I'm very grateful for right now. And I'm actually going to start with just nutrition. I've shared in other videos that physically I am prone to be diabetic. I definitely had gestational diabetes when I was pregnant, and I have a family history of type 2 diabetes, not type 1, but type 2 that develops later in life, but largely as a lifetime of not taking good care of our insulin health, okay? And so I'm leaning in the direction of eating a more protein-based diet. I'm gonna let this dry down for a second before I go in with the eyeshadow. And I wanted to share how I've been doing with that. In another video, I shared that my husband makes amazing biscuits on Sunday, and so I had 2 this morning. They were so damn good. But in general, overall, so maybe like 80 to 85%-ish compliant, and then 15 to 20%-ish, I might get a little bit off from time to time. There's some days that I'm perfect, you know, just straight up on the protein, and some vegetables if I want to. Some days I don't even do vegetables at all, but protein with the animal fat added in. That's a whole nother thing. I won't get into a whole big thing about that, but it works really well for me as a food protocol that keeps my hormones balanced, keeps me vibrant, energetic. It keeps me awake during the day. I don't feel tired. I don't have acid reflux, none of that stuff. So I've been doing really good. And what I want to mention as the blessing in this area is the gratitude for simple meals. One thing about eating that way is you really just pick out your meat. Like some days it's just like, I just want a pork chop. Period, end of story. I don't need to have all these other elaborate sides and all that. I just want a pork chop for dinner. And sometimes it's just like a pork chop, eggs in the morning and a pork chop at night. And that's it. And I'm totally like satisfied with that. It regulates my hunger hormones and all of that. So the blessing there is the simplicity of the meal, that it's a protein, and then sometimes we also cook a vegetable. And when the kids are eating with us, we will have some kind of starch for them also, because they tend to be a little bit hungrier and want more from their meals. So we give them, as I mentioned before, potatoes, pasta, rice, something like that, in addition to their meals. So I love the simplicity of not having lots of pots and pans and a big kitchen of items to clean up. In fact, we usually grill our food, and so when the kids are not eating with us, we might grill like steaks on the grill, and then if we have a vegetable, like say asparagus, we'll grill that too, and there's no cleanup. There's nothing. That's it. And I love that. I love eating and then doing whatever little bit of cleanup, like putting our dishes in the dishwasher and then going and watching our favorite show or a movie or something like that and just being done with it. So it's fantastic that way. So that's blessing number 1. For the eyeshadow, I actually think I'm going to pick up this white and see if I can like run it here in the brow bone and here, and I can put other stuff on top of that. So blessing number 2 really has to do with the fact that since I work from home, you know, I look around my house quite a lot while I'm working from home. I'm on phone calls a lot of the day. I am on Zoom and Teams meetings and that sort of thing with my camera on. And occasionally I just sort of look around the space and then go into like ponder mode. I start thinking about life and all of that. Part of what I like about that are the visually appealing vignettes around me. So I've showed you all a video of the office in the basement and that it faces the woods behind our house. It's really nice to sit there and look through those French doors out to the wilderness. It's not really wilderness. It's just like a plot of woods, okay, behind our house. But there are birds back there. There's all sorts of little animals moving back and forth. The other day I saw like this movement and it was like a deer ear that caught my eye, a deer flicking its ear. And I was like, isn't that cool and peaceful that I get to see that? You don't have to have woods behind your house for that. When I lived in New York City, I loved to, for example, look down a certain street and the way that the sun was setting or whatever, it's either cast a shadow or put light into a specific area that just created this like artistic composition that was interesting to look at and gave me a moment of pause, gratitude, and reflection. It could be a piece of artwork. It could be the way someone is well put together, like how they are dressed, that you stop and look at the street and go, so-and-so's got it together. It's just this moment of appreciation for the way something visually looks and the artistic nature of it. Like even this painting back here, which I mentioned, we recently exchanged out for the fake, giclée print that we had there of the magnolia, and we put this oil painting in from a local artist that I really enjoy. Like I kind of get lost in the water, whatever you call that. Is it lotus? Water lilies, lotus, something, whatever that plant is. I can get lost in that. Or like, when you catch a sunset or something like that, when you're driving back from wherever you're going and the sun's setting and it's really pretty, you just have that moment where you're like, wow, that's really neat. Like, thank you, God, for your beautiful artwork that you share with us every day, that type of a thing. So number 2 is appreciating little vignettes of beauty around us, visually speaking. It could be the grain of wood, like texture of wood. It could be the movement of trees in the wind. It could be the way some flowers are grouped together in a garden or something like that, where your eye catches it and you're like, wow, that's calming, it's pretty, it's aesthetically pleasing. And it kind of does, at least for me, those scenes sort of center me, like spiritually, instantly. Hard to describe, I know. Okay, this is how big this palette is that I can literally like just rest it on my shoulder. So I think I'm gonna take what I call a packer brush, and it looks like this. It looks like it's not clean. I swear it's clean. It's just a little late, y'all. But this packer brush that has this slanted edge to it, and I'm going to take this and put it on my lid and maybe do a little darkening in the corner with maybe a color like one of these. And then I think I want to take one of these through the crease. So let's hope I don't create a big muddy mess, because we know I'm prone to do that. Speaking of makeup, I would say that blessing number 3 is my own time in the morning doing exactly what I'm doing here with you all. So some people think that makeup is a frivolous thing. It's unnecessary. I don't understand why women paint their faces. They've got this whole sort of philosophical objection to women trying to pretty themselves up with makeup. And then certainly, you see the look I'm doing today, there's a lot of people that think that something like this is just way over the top and unnecessary. I respect that, and I tell those people, you handle your face how you want to, and I'll handle mine how I please. But that's not the point. The point is, I really enjoy the time in the morning to just look across my makeup collection, pick out something I think I want to enjoy in a creative way. Makeup for me is about self-expression, it's about creativity, and it's about a moment of reflection. So there's like 3 things I think about as I'm doing makeup. One is looking at your own face every day helps you to accept the aging process. I always talk about I'm getting close to 50, and for me that feels like a really big deal. I know those of you that are way past 50 are like, you're a young buck, you're fine, don't worry about it. I understand, but 50 for me feels like a very big milestone, at least from where I'm at in my life right now. And watching my face change in the ways that it has, like, jowls sagging, discoloration here, this whole thing happening here, which we all have to deal with as we age. Many of us have to deal with. Some of you are blessed to maintain a chiseled jawline as you age, and I'm just not one of those people. The few wrinkles that are forming there, just see your skin changing over time helps you to appreciate the aging process and accept doing it with grace and humility that we all age. If we don't have access or don't want to do surgery in whatever way, which is so acceptable these days, at least in media, right? We see lots of celebrities literally altering the way that they look, and I don't have any issues with that. I just find it interesting from a sociological perspective that at this day and age, it's a thing. It's like a whole thing, at least in circles where people can afford to do that comfortably. It's a thing. Or people consider it, even if they end up not doing it. And I also think that social media leads us to believe that people are doing it a lot more than they really are. I picked up this darker purple color for the outer like V area, and I may regret this, but let's try it. Let's be a little bit bold here and see what we can get done. So I like to take just a little bit, make sure I'm patting it off on my microfiber cloth or tapping the excess off, and then kind of stamping it here in the outer corner to deposit the color, depositing the color here, and then kind of working it into the crease very lightly. I'm keeping a very, very light pressure on my brush. I should probably be even lighter because I tend to be very heavy-handed. But so back to the morning reflection, acceptance of the aging process as I have to look at my face every day. Like, thank God for mirrors. What would life be like without mirrors? Have you ever thought about that if you can't see yourself? Sometimes I think about dumb stuff like that, y'all, and I can obsess over it for a long time. It's also about the routine of applying makeup. There's like a certainty, like I am going to create some look today. It may be a crazy dramatic look, like whatever I'm about to do here, or it may be subtle, but it's my own creation and I get to change it out every day. Like, how cool is that? I think that's a really neat treat, like privilege to be able to do that. And then, like I said, there's an opportunity to reflect about what I want my day to be like, who I want to be that day, how I want to show up for my coworkers and my family. I feel like I have a piece of lint in my eyelash. It's probably glue from yesterday's fake lashes that I somehow didn't get off well when I washed my face last night and this morning. But who do I want to be that day? How do I want to show up for folks? And what happened the day before that I did well? Where could I have done better? What are the lessons to be learned from the day before? There's a lot of time to reflect when you're spending 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and on very crazy days like today, an hour fussing with your face in the mirror. It's just a minute to slow down and not be rushing around, which, as you all know, I tend to do very well. That part I do well. I can rush around, y'all. I can rush around and fill the day with lots of busyness, you know, lots of busyness. That's super bold. I don't know if I like it or if it just looks super bold under this little light, but let's keep going. I think I want to add some warmth with one of those brownish colors there. I may do maybe this lighter color up in the crease and then this one deeper into the crease just to add a tiny bit of warmth so I'm not like neon purple. This is like some straight 80s Wonder Woman stuff here. Did Wonder Woman wear makeup? I don't think she wore a lot of makeup. She was more of a natural beauty. I don't think I watched it a lot, but I love the concept of Wonder Woman. Did I have a Wonder Woman doll? Was there a Wonder Woman doll? I think there were dolls. Of course there were dolls. What am I talking about? So then let's go on. The fourth thing is watching our kids grow. I've mentioned this a little bit in other videos. What a real pleasure and privilege to watch our kids grow and become who they are. You know, I think it's a Kenyan proverb. It's supposed to be a tradition. I don't know if this really happened. So if you're Kenyan or grew up in Kenya or know people in Kenya, let me know if this is actually true. But it's whispering in the ears of children, become who you are. Become who you are. Think about the power of that statement, which is in a way, forget what everyone else tells you to be. Forget all of the voices in your head that tell you to be something or someone else, and just become who you are destined to be, whatever that is. Now, the destined part is a very American concept, right? If you understand American history and the concept of manifest destiny and all of those interesting, like, historical things, then the idea of a destiny that you shape is a largely Western concept. So I don't mean to impose that over that Kenyan thought, but it's that kind of thing. But I just love the sentiment, become who you are, which begs the question, who are you? And I think our kids are largely trying to figure that out in their own unique ways. I'm going to go into the darker brown that I pointed out in the upper corner and see if I can do a little bit of deepening up and warming up here. You see how that automatically lends a little bit more day-to-day believability to this look rather than just keeping it on the purple neon side? That really changes things up ever so subtly, but makes it like not as obnoxious of a look. Not that all purple is obnoxious, but you know, roll with me here. So our kids, we have 3. We're a blended family. I think I've shared that before. So there are 2 of them that are into writing in different ways, and that's really neat to watch. Our daughter and our oldest son both write. One writes these sort of mythical, fictional, fantasy types of stories where there are made up characters, and she bases them off of like mythology and all of this. And it's really, really cool to watch her pull the stories together. She's a teenager, 15 years old, and it really excites her to talk about them. It lends into her creativity and imagination, and it's like a nice outlet to see her stories and sometimes poems come together. Our oldest son does fandom, I think it's called, literature that's based off of cartoons and video games and things like that, where there are characters that are then written about that he puts into his literature. And he also writes stories about himself, which is an interesting way to see what he's thinking about. You know, things that he doesn't maybe feel comfortable verbalizing to us or sharing, he'll put into his stories. And that's really kind of like a neat peek into the mind of a young adult. And then my son Bryson, he's really a great musician. So in fact, I'll insert a clip here of him playing piano, or a couple of clips. He does it all by ear. He does have some training. There's some lessons that he takes. He takes lessons like every other Saturday and every other Wednesday with different people. And so, but my point is, he doesn't really read sheet music. He knows how to, and he's not classically trained, although he gets some classical training, but he does things mostly by ear. He can listen to a song and then play his own version of it and jazz it up in his own way. It's really interesting to see the development of that. And sometimes he'll ask me to sing with him. I'm going into an even darker brownish purplish color to deepen up a little bit more. But he'll ask me to sing certain songs with him, and it's very touching. I'm like, you want your mama to sing with you? So it's really neat to watch the three of them cultivate their individual talents. And it's like a real blessing to watch that blossom and come to life. I enjoyed that too about being a teacher in a lifetime long, long ago in a galaxy far, far away. I had the pleasure of watching kids that I taught develop their unique talents. Of course, there's sort of a discovery period where they're trying to figure out, well, what am I talented at? What unique contribution do I offer to the world? I think every young person struggles with that period of their life, but it was always neat to see them then figure out what they like and get good at it. An instrument, singing, writing, debating. I used to sponsor the Model United Nations Club. That was fun to watch those kids do their thing. I feel like I need to buff this out a little bit, so I'm going to take a clean, big brush. This is probably too big, but I'm going to use this and just kind of blur the edges here, like fan this out. So anyway, that is number 4, watching our kids grow and grow into their talents. The other side of that, of course, is it's heartbreaking to watch your kids grow up. It's like equal parts pride and joy and heartbreak. I mean, I can't tell you how often I miss the younger years where they were little and dependent on us, and all they wanted was to be hugged or rocked to sleep or a bottle of milk or something. Simpler days, simpler days. Things are much complicated now, especially with social media antics and silliness like that. That affects their lives. But you can have everything, but you can't have it all at once, as I like to say. So I had that time of young and cute and cuddly and on mama's hip, loving me all the time. I love them back, of course. And then we're in a different stage now, right? So I get the privilege of seeing them develop their talents and grow into themselves, but we no longer have the privilege of those young toddler into early elementary years that are so precious, where you're still their hero. They still believe every single thing coming out of your mouth. You know, you're like their idol at that time. So those days have passed. All right, let's take a second step back and take a look at what's happening here. I do want to add some shine onto the lid and do something underneath. I'll do the underneath part after I do my base makeup though. So what do we want to do with shine? I could go into like the silvers. I could get really funky and go into this chunky metallic shade here. I think I'm drawn to like this pinky shade to put a little bit on the inner corner. I may try to play with these two shades and like go for the gold, as the expression goes. I saw another color that attracted me, so I think I'm gonna put this on the right there, like boop, and then take that, boop, and then take that on the inner corner. Jesus, guide the way. And to do that, I'm going to add a little bit of the Ulta Glitter Primer on the eyelid so it sticks. Everything sticks and doesn't fall all down my face. So I want to talk about the next one, which I think is super cool. And that's about YouTube. And that is watching my fellow creators get good at what they're doing, not to imply that someone's bad at what they're doing at any point in time. But there's this evolution, I think, that happens as you start a channel and kind of just toy with what you think you want to do on that channel, and then continue to play as you go along with different editing, different pacing, different topics to see what suits you, posting at different times, different lengths of videos and things like that. I realize that from the audience perspective, all of that seems like trivial nonsense, but from the creator's perspective, especially for a person that does have some interest in their channel actually growing. I'm going to talk about that in just a second because I have a little bit of a rant / gripe about that. So here's that really beautiful purple. I'm going to put that right in the outer section there. But for people that are interested in their channel growing at some sort of reasonable rate, there's a lot of thinking that goes into what's happening with your channel and why is it growing or not growing in comparison to others that are in that same sort of genre. So for this channel has been growing very, very slow. I don't have any problems with that myself. I would have had a problem with that on the other channel that I have because that is one that I really wanted to do well. And I don't even know how to explain why. Maybe it's just like that human nature. If I'm going to do something, I want to do it right and I want it to be some sort of successful. So for some reason, I'm more attached to that theory on the other channel than this one, which is for me to just hang out with you all and have some sort of sense of community over here. But like, let's just take this channel as an example. It's growing slowly. If I wanted to, I should probably give some thought to why that is and look at other creators in the space who are doing well or not so well and see what they're doing that is maybe like, what are the commonalities? What are the commonalities across people that are not doing well? For example, I know one thing that hurts this channel in terms of growth is the wide variety of topics. So there isn't like a niche here that people know they can come and get every single time. Like a makeup channel that's dedicated to just makeup, you know, every time you get on, y'all gonna talk about some makeup. A channel like this that's more of just like a lifestyle vloggy kind of channel, there's less consistency, and then people, which can be a problem for some folks in terms of feeling connected to the creator. And then some people feel like they come for certain information and they just don't want to hear all that other rambling and babbling. Like there's a lot of rambling and babbling on this channel. I like it, I'm cool with it, but that doesn't mean everybody else is. So this is that chunky glittery color. Let me tap on and see what it gives me. Where was I going with that? Where I was going with it was that it's really fun to watch fellow creators hit their stride and figure out where is their comfort zone, where their channel is growing at a pace that makes sense for where they want to be. And people are subbing at a rate that feels good to them. People are actually watching the videos because you can have a lot of subs. Have you seen this on YouTube where someone may have a ton of subs, but when you look at their views, you know, people aren't really like actually watching the videos? That can be problematic for the YouTube algorithm and all of that. Anyway, every channel is very, very different. People have to figure out what works for their unique channel and their unique audience. I feel gratitude when others figure out what their stride looks like. And it's different for every channel. You know, there are different audiences for different channels. There might be overlaps. For example, there might be people that watch this channel that watch, you know, Susie Q that does makeup, and they might also watch, you know, Mary Jane or whoever. But that doesn't mean that all the watchers are watching all three channels. So there might be some overlap in different places. And that makes figuring out who your audience is and what they like a very unique process. It's kind of like curating a friendship group over the years. You may get along with some one day and then they decide, no, I don't really like this. This isn't for me, etc. And they move on. Same thing happens with YouTube channels, and that's very normal. So I get really happy when my fellow creators are in a space where they are giving their best creative energy to the work. You can feel it through the camera that they enjoy doing it. They enjoy recording. It brings them pleasure. It's an outlet for them. And they feel like they have found some sense of community out in YouTube land where the content resonates with their audience. That's really super cool. They're sharing their passion. I'm looking down at my notes because I don't want to forget to say anything. And I love when YouTubers or creators or whoever in life, people root for each other. We should want the best for each other. I left a comment on this woman, Marcy, who has a fragrance channel. I left a comment on her channel, a video, saying, can we just take a moment for this cute shirt and earrings or something like that? And another kind subscriber of hers said something like, I really like it when you fragrance ladies big up each other, like root for each other. And that comment really touched me. And I'm like, I get teary-eyed really easily these days. And I'm like, why shouldn't I root for her? I want nothing but the best. I want love. I want happiness, fulfillment. I want success, whatever that means for her. And if I don't want that for her, I shouldn't watch her. Period. Like, I cannot watch people on YouTube that I don't feel some sort of personal connection to, or at least, feel like I'm learning something from them. Like, there's some channels that I watch for purely informational or educational purposes, and maybe I'm not that attached to the creator. Granted, like, it's not every creator where I'm like, I love you, we're family. But when it comes to makeup and things that are personal for me, fragrance, makeup, hair care, life vlogs, I want to feel like the person on camera when I'm watching as a subscriber is a friend. I may never meet them, likely will never meet many of them, but I need to have like that vibe. Like, this person could easily be part of my inner circle of friends, easily. And if I don't feel that, it's kind of hard to connect. And if they're not my friend, could they be my mom? Could they be my daughter? Could they be my younger cousin or something like that? There's some sort of personal connection, like a tie that binds, to that person. I need that. So I root for my fellow creators. I wish them well. And well is different for each person. It's not just about like, how many subscribers do you have? Do you have sponsorships and affiliate links? None of that. I mean, all that's fun and everything for YouTube. It makes YouTube fun. But whatever it means for them, if it means that they are expressing themselves, that it's an outlet, if it means that they feel connected, however it shows up on their videos, I'm like, you go girl, or you go guy, whoever that is. All right, folks, are we ready to do the base makeup, or do you think I should do some more deepening up? I wish I could do live polls so you could say, leave it, don't mess with it, or girl, you need some more depth in those outer corners. Let's step back. I feel like it needs more warmth. This is me messing up the look, but I'm gonna tell you what almost always works without messing things up. Lord. It is using a bronzer. So I am happily project panning this. We talked about project panning in another video and how much that's just like really not me, but I really want to use this one up for some reason. So I'll just drag that through. See how that softens things up and makes it continues to add warmth, because I already added some warmth. It continues to add warmth. And the sixth one, it's about watching my colleagues thrive. I think I've shared with you all, I know I've shared with you all many times that I love the people I work with. I love the organization I work with. So in my role at my job, because I'm a little bit more senior in the organization, I have duties to help other colleagues grow. Like, that's part of my job, which is something I enjoy in general, even when I didn't have a role like what I have now. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel part of a community. It gives me purpose to help other people figure out how to be their best self. I find like that's my contribution to humanity, helping other people see their potential and move past whatever, mental roadblocks they may have for achieving whatever it is that they set out to achieve. I enjoy that. Now, of course, there are people more senior than me that help me do that, but it's so rewarding to me to see my colleagues thrive. So in our line of work, that could mean someone putting out a publication that gets recognized in a certain region or across the nation or maybe globally. That could mean someone presenting at a conference and the presentation is not only well received, but you see the thing that they're presenting on be adopted elsewhere. The model or whatever it is that they're talking about be adopted elsewhere. It's really exciting to see that happen. It could be one of the colleagues getting recognized for their work in a particular content area by other colleagues in the field, like receiving some national recognition. It could just mean them successfully leading some of the project work that they lead in a way that they weren't able to do before, or just doing for the first time. They're learning a new skill set. They're growing their wings a little bit. The lighting is changing because the lighting through these skylights is changing. So I'm sorry about that. I know that makes it difficult to see what I'm doing, but I have a feeling that you're mostly listening and not watching, and that's totally okay for this kind of video. But I really thrive when my colleagues thrive. It makes me happy. It makes me feel part of a community. It gives me continued purpose and pride in the work that I'm doing. And I know that they feel the same way about me too. Like, we root each other on. We're happy for each other when successes happen. The reason I bring that up is I wasn't always in that situation. I shared in other videos that I grew up in an especially sadly competitive environment where it was, because of our economic situation, a little bit of dog eat dog. I mixed two foundations, as you see. There's a lighter and a darker. The darker is an old one that's not sold anymore, the Stila Hide and Chic Fluid Foundation. This is in a deep color, tan one, but you can see like it's a nice deep color for my skin tone anyway. And then I have the Estee Lauder Futurist Hydro Rescue foundation, and this is in the color 3W1 Tawny. So they're mixed together so that I can get a color that's appropriate for what I'm looking like today. So what a privilege and pleasure to be in a work environment where people are actually happy for each other, support each other, lend coaching, mentorship, strategy to each other to do well and thrive, instead of having a dog eat dog environment in the workplace. I've been there. I don't want to be there again. I've been both the victim of that and sadly have had to do that in previous environments. And it's messed up. That's not a good place to be. A good place to be is where, I mean, it's like a really sort of utopian situation where I feel well supported by really fantastic mentors who are good at what they do, and they give me the space and grace to be a good mentor myself to other people. And I just love that. It feels like a family at work. Does that make sense? Like my face looks totally canceled out. Maybe I got too much on, but it'll look fine in the end. It always works in the end. It's very juicy right now. My skin with all those layers of moisture and these foundations mixed together on top of it. I'm gonna have to blend out a little bit more here. I don't know, you guys. I feel like I need even deeper color in there, only because I'm going to be filming, as you know. I'm gonna take a little bit more of that white with my fingers for the brow bone. See if I can create some more definition up here. This is like backfilling when I should have just been lighter on the hand to go with. Story of my makeup life, you know? Okay, I find if I take the eyeshadow too far up, it looks crazy. It looks a little clownish. So I like to keep it lower down, this deeper crease. Although sometimes I like to bring darkness up in here. Darkness. I don't know why I need to say that every time I say the word darkness. What is that from? Somebody help me. It's like an 80s movie or something where somebody goes, darkness. I don't know where I got that from. I bet it drives people crazy when they're listening to me. What the hell are you talking about? I'm going to powder, but I'm trying to wait for everything to settle down just a little bit more because it's still fairly tacky to the touch. Some might argue that is when you should put on powder. I'm going to go with a powder that never fails me. I have a lot of high-end powders, or have some high-end powders rather, but the Wet n Wild Photo Focus in Banana, unbeatable, unstoppable. It does have like a yellowy, almost orangey color to it, which is kind of cool. I'm going to use my huge Scott Barnes powder brush. Oh my gosh, Scott Barnes was recently back on Tati on her channel. Who saw that? I only watched the first maybe 10 minutes. I have to go back and finish watching that. But I was like, oh my gosh, I clicked so fast. That video that they did, the original one, changed my life, changed my makeup life, the way that I did contouring and bronzing and all of that. So let's go on. The next one, this is number 7. It is the ongoing curating of things in my life. And I do mean everything, but let's start off with things. I'm doing ongoing curating of my makeup collection, of my wardrobe, my shoes, my fragrances. I have a lot of fragrances that I've amassed doing the other channel. People have different opinions about that, and I can tell you wholeheartedly, I don't really care what people think about what I have and how much I have. I find it annoying that they are judgy about it, but you know, do I care? Am I going to stop? Am I going to change? No, I'm not. I'm going to do what I want in my house with my money and my space. But there's this ongoing curating that I find really soothing and relaxing, like moving things around, figuring out what really truly belongs on a shelf, leaving it be at one point in time and thinking, okay, I think I have curated this the way that I want to. And then in a few months coming back and going, I think I can tweak here and there. It's like an art form. Organizing and curating is its own form of like a therapeutic art or something that I think people just don't, you either get it or you don't. And I will say it drives some people crazy. I can understand that. I can understand how some people look at a large collection of whatever they have, like let's say dishware, and they just feel overwhelmed rather than feeling like challenged and excited to pare it down. They're just like, it's too much clutter for them. It's too much. So I get that. I totally understand that. But for me, I find it kind of like an ongoing, I don't know, interest to keep thinking about, do I really like this? I am packing on this powder, y'all. I'm packing it on. I am packing it on, which is not good. But here I am, packing it on. I have completely canceled out all of my face. All of my face. I'm gonna do the under eye and then let's do the rest of this face. So I think of curating as like tending to a garden. A garden needs to be constantly kept up. Obviously the difference with the garden is you're not typically adding and adding and adding to your garden or subtracting and subtracting and subtracting. So there's that key difference. I get it, but the sense of satisfaction is the same with keeping things looking neat and organized in a certain way, as it might be with like a gardening activity where you have a garden full of weeds or some things have overgrown and you go in to tend to them and curate them. It's kind of a cool activity and it's a nice like personal challenge to think about that. All right, let's blur out this edge here. This is looking crazy. I have these like natural divots in my skin here that people, you can't see on camera, but I know that they're there where makeup either collects or skips over. That creates some natural challenges with like consistency in the outer corners. Do you have that? Do you know what I'm talking about? So some of the things I like about curating the emotions, the itches that it scratches, is it provides me some relief when I do the curating, right? It's like a form of mental relief to move it from disorganized or cluttered or unused or something like that into some other state. There's a transformation that happens that I find a form of relief. It creates some kind of like restoration visually for me. Like it turns chaos into order, if that makes sense. So that order piece is also addictive. Creating order out of the chaotic is an addictive thing. It's a very satisfying feeling to curate, clean out, rearrange, whatever the kind of curating is that you're doing or moving around is that you're doing. And I like the sense of cohesion that comes. So inside of that closet is 2 fragrance shelves, and I had put a bunch of fragrances on the front of one of them, and so it just looked like a big mess of fragrances. And I spent maybe 30 minutes last weekend just taking them down and reorganizing them into order, creating some sort of sense of place and belonging and grouping. And I stepped back and looked and I was like, it just felt so satisfying to me. So that brings me great sort of joy and peace and gratitude as well. Next up is a sort of grouping of things that I'm very grateful for that all fall into the same category, even though they seem different. So for me, that is, let me make sure I read these to y'all: good coffee, good sleep, good candles, and good music. Coffee, sleep, candles, and music, which for me, what all of those do is set a mood. They set a mood of self-care, time to wind down, and in some cases with the music, time to wind up, to get revved up. So those things either help me to reset my mind or my heart or my spirit, like coffee. A good cup of coffee quietly in the morning in that rocking chair in my bedroom helps to reset my mind and give me a moment of reflection before I launch off into my day. Good sleep helps to reset, certainly, and to revive me, especially as I wake up refreshed, and ready for whatever the next day may bring. Good candles. I don't know, you guys. They're a mood. They're a vibe. There's some poopy candles. What are your best types of candles? Like your best brand of candle? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear. I'm still looking for my best type of candle, but I found some good ones. And I will have either posted or will be posting right after this a video showing a few of the ones that I'm enjoying the most lately. And I have to say, I know this is unpopular. So don't tell people that love these. And if you're one that loves these, don't unsub. Bath and Body Works candles, they don't bring me as much joy. I think it's because I get overwhelmed by the 3 wicks kicking off a scent all at once, and it almost becomes like a synthetic mess in the air for me. So I've gravitated towards other candles at this point. But anyway, a good candle will really help to set the mood, set my mind, either invigorate me or calm me down. And then music. Music is it. I don't know what I would do in my life without good music. There's music for every mood. You know what I mean? There's music for the downtimes in your life to help you mourn and reflect and let go of things. There's music for the happy times to celebrate. There's music for working out to rev you up. There's everything in between. I love lots of different genres of music. I don't discriminate. If it's good music and it moves me, I'm listening to it. I don't care if it's country. I don't care if it's pop. I don't care if it's mountain music. I don't care if it's banjos. I don't really care. As long as it touches my heart or my mind or my soul, I'm into it. I'm into it. So there are moments when I am extremely grateful for music. I think I'm going to stop here with the eye look because I don't want to do anything too crazy to mess it up, or do I? See, y'all? See? I'm going to go into one of these glittery shades that looks like this and just do a little pat on the inside. Let's figure out what to do with the eyelashes, and I need to bronze and all that stuff. Okay, so I've done the false eyelashes. I love the way they look. These are a little bit too dramatic. I'm going to put a little bit of eyeliner on top, and I've been doing my bronzer. I'm using my Gucci bronzer, Eclat Soleil Poudre de Beauté bronzing powder in 03. And I like to take it up in here to just create a little bit of shadow. So this looks a little dramatic, but I'll buff it out in a minute. Always does. Always does, friends. Always. So let me go on. The next one is, it's summer. And I don't know if you can actually hear outside the cicadas. I love the sounds of summer. I love in early spring when I can hear the frogs in the creek behind us. I love this time of year, late July, early August, when you can hear all of the cicadas outside. My husband loves it because he's from Louisiana, and it just reminds him of sticky, humid days in his youth living in Louisiana. But I don't know, there's something so peaceful and calming to me when cicadas do their nighttime song. In fact, I'm going to take some of this bronzer through the crease to create even more shadow. Like, how much stuff can I pack on into these eyes? So I love the sun in the summertime. I don't like to stand out in it for forever, but I appreciate stepping out and feeling the warmth of the sun on my skin. There's just something to that, something very sort of life-affirming, circle of life-ish. Like the sun's going to shine. The sun's going to do what the sun does. The sun is going to sun. At least in our lifetime. I can't imagine an act in nature that would change that. At least I hope not. We depend on the sun, right? Like, we live because of the sun and because of water and oxygen and all of those things. So I have a tremendous appreciation for the warmth of sun on my skin in the summer. And believe it or not, I do appreciate the heat and humidity as long as I don't have to be out in it for a long time. I cut a lot of this lash off. It's a really big lash. I cut that much off. That's a lot to cut off of a lash. And it's still that big of a lash. Well, that would have gone on the inside part there, but anyway, I think when I put the little eyeliner on top, it won't, I hope, look as bad. These are the My Lash But Better from Kiss lashes, and they look like this, the Bear Affair. They're pretty big lashes. I don't even remember where I was. Hubby came in, we started talking. I decided not to do the liner on the inside. I think I'm just gonna leave it like that. What do we think? Like from back here? I don't know. He really hates that I do like a straight line up on my eyebrows. He likes the curve. I'll work on that over time. I don't know. And I put the Buxom Wanderlust Ibiza blush on, which I like. I took a pill in Ibiza. What happened to that guy? Was he just a one-hit wonder? I don't remember his name. So anyway, that's what that's looking like. I did the bronzer, I did the eyebrows, I'm gonna do the lip. And I wanna talk about the last thing that I have on my list, which is really important for me. And I hope it's important for you too, especially because you're here on social media. However, first, I think I wanna do the trick where I take the bronzer and run it along my lips. If you're not familiar with why I do this, I use this sometimes as a liner before I put my actual lip liner on. I have jagged edges on my lips, especially up here. They're just uneven. And so it helps to kind of bring the look all together and to create some shadow and give some plumpness to my lips. So let me be quiet while I do that. So there we go. It just kind of fills them out just a little bit. I think I'm gonna try the colored Twig from MAC for lipstick. Let's see how that works out. Be cute. So the last thing, you guys, is being choosy about social media, which sounds like a contradiction coming from someone who has 2 YouTube channels, an Instagram account, which by the way, I never pay attention to. I sometimes post on there and often just don't, and I'm not on Instagram the way that I would probably like to be. I enjoy it when I get on, but there's reasons that I stay off. I have other priorities and things that I need to attend to. But being really selective about social media is important in a lot of different ways. It goes back to that whole thing of like, you are what you consume, you are what you eat. Well, we eat social media with our eyes, right? And our brains and our hearts. And you have a tendency to think, whether you fight it or not, that the world is as you see it on social media. I think that's just a natural thing that humans do when they watch social media. You don't even have control over it. Whatever you consume on social media tends to color the way that you see the world. And so I want to watch channels that I learn from or make me happy or that I feel some kind of connection to, however that may show up. I do not want to watch channels that are depressing, where people are complaining or, bitching and moaning about life. I can do that on my own. I don't need any help with that. You know what I'm saying? I don't need any help watching channels that are like perseverating about the world's problems. I can do that all by myself. I don't need additional channels to feed that to me. And the same thing with like Instagram, I barely get on Facebook. I'm on some Facebook fragrance groups, and I'll tell you, that's a whole toxic environment right there. I can talk about that another time. Be careful with those kind of groups where people chat, turns into a lemon squeeze. Next thing you know, I've seen people in these Facebook groups complain over and over again, calling out creators by name, for example, YouTubers, Instagrammers, or whatever. And sometimes the YouTuber or Instagrammer is in the group. And the people don't understand that because they treat them as some outside entity that doesn't have a heart and a soul. They just go on. I mean, that kind of stuff gets crazy. I can't watch reels of abuse of any kind, even if the abuse gets resolved. Like, for example, a mother is not feeding her children. Out in Western Illinois, we found a case of a mother who has 3 children who she's been keeping in a basement and has starved to death. I don't want to know about that. That upsets me to my core, to the point where I want to get in my car. My hair is not behaving. I want to drive out to Illinois and I want to save those children myself. I can't do stuff like that. The one recent thing that I got super wrapped up in, and I guess I didn't mind because it felt just so distant from my reality, is that whole submersible thing. Of course, at the same time, there were other massive tragedies happening around the world that didn't get attention and all of those things, right? But I became obsessed with where the submersible was and how the people inside were doing. Mind you, we've since learned that it imploded upon descent. And so it wasn't like they were waiting at the bottom of the ocean for someone to save them and they never came and all of that. And oh my God, the amount of time that I spent thinking about that. So I gotta be careful about that. I gotta be careful about scrolling through Instagram and coming across accounts of people that are trying to flex, that are trying to present themselves as something that they're not, who are trying to give a certain image. I quickly unfollow accounts where the people are on there just critiquing and criticizing everyone else but themselves. You know what I'm talking about? The people that come on and are like, can we talk about thus and such? There's a little bit of ranting and raving that everyone needs to do every once in a while, but when that's your MO and that's all of the content that you're putting out, constantly complaining about the state of social media and what other influencers are doing, I get tired of that. Do you? It just gets exhausting. It gets exhausting listening to it, absorbing it. And the worst part is I then go into the comments to see who's agreeing with this person. And there are some people in there that follow me, and I'm like, is that how you feel about me? And then that plays, you know, a whole mind game on you. I can't be in that space. So I have to protect my peace with my social media and use it for joy and fun. If ever I get on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, I only scroll and pay attention to the things that are fun, enjoyable, teach me something, set a mood, raise a good emotion in me. The things that do the opposite, that stress me out, that make me question myself, that present things that upset me, I have to unfollow. I have to scroll past. I can't do it. And I refuse to be that person that sits there and responds back, you know, on social media about stuff. So protecting my peace in social media is important, and it's a parallel for how I behave in life. Same thing in life. Like, I curate my circle of friends carefully and do not mess with people that make me, wow. My light gave out. It was like, girl, it's time for you to be quiet. So I'm gonna be quiet and I'm gonna say goodbye. Here is a final look. My light gave up on me. See y'all next time. That's my sign to get the hell out of here. Take care. Mwah.